Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, chapter 17, text 3. That's punishment and reward of Kali. Gam cha dharma dugham dinam prisham Sudra Parahatam Vivetatsam Ashru Vandanam Sanamam Yavasaram Vichatim Gam Chatarmadikam Dinam Vrisham Sudra Padavatam Vivitsama Shivaranam Shramam Yavasaram Ichitim Gam Chatarmadikam Dinam Risham Sudra Padarhatam Vivatsasama Shivadanam Ramam Yavasavam Ichitim Gam Chatarmadikam Dinam Vrisham Sudra Padarhatam Vivatsama Shivadanam Samam Yasavam Ichitam.
Gang Dharma Dugang Dinam
Gam Dharma Dugam Dinam
Vishang Shudra Padahatam
Visham Sudra Padahatam
Vivatsama Shuvadanam
Vivatsama Shivadanam
Shamang Yavasamichatim
Dharmam Yasavam Ichitim
Gam Dharma Dugam
Dinam
Gam Dharma Dugam Dinam
Vrisham Shudra Padahatam
Vrisham Sudra Padarhatam
Vivatsama Shuvadanam
Vivatsama Shivadanam
Shamam Yavasamichatim
Shamam Yasam Ichitim
Dharma Dugam Dinam
Gam Dharma Dugam Dinam
Visham Shudra Padahatam
Visham Sudra Padahatam
Vatsam Ashruvadanam
Vivatsama Shivadanam
Shamam Yavasamichatim
Shamam Yasam Ichitim
Gam Dharma Dugham Dinam
Gam Dharma Dugam Dinam
Vrisham Shudra Padahatam
Visham Sudra Padarhatam
Vivatsam Ashuvadanam
Vivatsama Shivadanam
Shamam Yavasam Ichatim
Shamam Yasam Ichitim
Gam cha dharma dugam dinam.
Gam cha dharma dukam dinam.
Sham shudra padahatam.
Vrisham sudra padahatam.
Vivatsam ashruvadanam.
Vivatsam ashrivadanam.
Shamam yavasam ichatim.
Shamam yasavam ichitim.
Gam cha dharma dugam dinam.
Gam cha dharma dukam dinam.
Risham shudra padahatam.
Vrisham sudra padahatam.
Vivatsam ashruvadanam.
Vivatsam ashrivadanam.
Shamam yavasham ichatim.
Shamam yasavam ichitim.
Gam cha dharma dugam dinam.
Gam cha dharma dukam dinam.
Vrisham shudra padahatam.
Vrisham sudra padahatam.
Vivatsam ashruvadanam.
Vivatsam ashrivadanam.
Shamam yavasam ichatam.
Shamam yasavam ichitam.
Gam cha dharma dukam dinam.
Gam cha dharma dukam dinam.
Prisham shudra padahatam.
Vrisham sudra padahatam.
Vivatsam ashruvadanam.
Vivatsam ashrivadanam.
Shamam yavasam ichatim.
Dhamam yasavam ichitim.
Gam cha dharma dugam dinam.
Gacha dharma dukam dinam.
Prisham chudra padahatam.
Vrisham sudra padahatam.
Vivatsam ashrivadanam.
Vivatsam ashrivadanam.
Shamam yavasam ichatim.
Shamam yasavam ichitim. Okay, any more chanters? That's everyone? I'll do the word by word synonyms. Gam, the cow. Cha, also. Dharma dugam, beneficial, because one can draw religion from her. Dinam, now rendered poor. Vrisham, distressed. Sudra, the lower caste. Pada achitim, beaten on the legs. Vivatsam, without any calf. Ashrivadanam, with tears in her eyes. Stamam, very weak. Yavasam, grass. Ichitim, as if desiring to have some grass to eat. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Although the cow is beneficial because one can draw religious principles from her, she was now rendered poor and calfless. Her legs were being beaten by a Sudra. There were tears in her eyes, and she was distressed and weak. She was hankering after some grass in the field. Purport: the next symptom of the age of Kali is the distressed condition of the cow. Milking the cow means drawing the principles of religion in a liquid form. The great rishis and munis would live only on milk. Srila Sukadeva Goswami would go to a householder while he was milking a cow, and he would simply take a little quantity of it for subsistence. Even 50 years ago, no one would deprive a sadhu of a quart or two of milk, and every householder would give milk like water. For a Sanantanist, a follower of Vedic principles, it is the duty of every householder to have cows and bulls as household paraphernalia, not only for drinking milk, but also for deriving religious principles. The Sanantanist worships cows on religious principles and respects brahmanas. The cow's milk is required for the sacrificial fire, and by performing sacrifices, the householder can be happy. The cow's calf not only is beautiful to look at, but also gives satisfaction to the cow, and so she delivers as much milk as possible. But in the Kali Yuga, the cows are separated from the cows as early as possible for purposes which may not be mentioned in these pages of Srimad Bhagavatam. The cow stands with tears in her eyes. The Sudra milkman draws milk from the cow artificially, but when there is no milk, the cow is sent to be slaughtered. These greatly sinful acts are responsible for all the troubles in present society. People do not know what they are doing in the name of economic development. The influence of Kali will keep them in the darkness of ignorance. Despite all endeavors for peace and prosperity, they must try to see the cows and the bulls happy in all respects. Foolish people do not know how one earns happiness by making the cows and bulls happy, but it is a fact by the law of nature. Let us take it from the authority of Srimad Bhagavatam and adopt the principles for the total happiness of humanity. Yeah, so this is real nice. And I believe Prabhupada was kind of mentioning this, or we mentioned in the class earlier, is that all the practices that we do is for our purification, and I was just thinking about that, how I just have a Kadasi, right? And that's twice a month. And we have the Chaturmas, so that's for 4 months. 1 month we fast from green leafy vegetables, then from urdal, then from yogurt, and then from milk. So yes, and one can feel themselves in making progress. So this is the Dharma. In themselves, it's just material activity, but we are engaging in Devi Vanashram. It's Vanashram Dharma meant for understanding God. Otherwise, it's just a material institution. So just like in the Vedic days, the Vedic ages, there was kings. Prabhupada was saying in the lecture that I was just reading, is that now monarchy is abolished, but there has to be someone who's the head, so that there'll be some control, some people, they can have someone they can follow, so they have some leaders, so they elect some president. So that's what Prabhupada was saying, Raja and Praja. So the Prajas, they're the people that are being taken care of by the king, and including the animals, they're all the Prajas. Everyone born in the land are the Prajas, under the responsibility of the king. And then the king, he's the Raja Rishi. So the Raja Rishi, there's great saintly kings like Maharaj Parikshit, Maharaj Yudhisthira. So they were to see to the spiritual benefit, spiritual upliftment and happiness of the society. Otherwise, the society is just doomed. So that's why Maharaj Parikshit, he heard about this Sudra, and he was beating the cow and a bull, so he immediately went to that spot. And the cow and Dharmaraj, they were having a talk in the form of the bull and the cow. So that so many different things were being represented and discussed. There's 26 qualities. So Prabhupada mentioned that in the verse, where was it? So text, it was Srimad Bhagavatam, it was the last chapter, chapter 16. I believe it was two texts, maybe it was 16 and 17. So 2 texts together. So there's 26 qualities. That's cleanliness and truthfulness and austerity. So Prabhupada is saying this is what Kali Yuga means. All bad qualities, these qualities were completely absent. All 26 qualities, truthfulness and Brahminical culture, like that, study of the Vedas, all these things, they're all nil, practically vacant in the Kali Yuga. So Prabhupada was saying that Satya Yuga is this stage of truthfulness. So everyone was very truthful. Everyone were yogis. They were Paramahamsas. They lived for tens of thousands of years, practiced austerity and Ashtanga yoga, meditating on Vishnu within the heart, right? Gazing at the tip of the nose, like that. So they, if someone has a question, Maharaj wants to make a statement.
Thank you. There's individual karma that one accrues for the reactions to his own activities, and there's group karma, or national karma, or international karma. In other words, where we're all grouped into a particular segment of society, and we are responsible as a whole for our actions. The fact that slaughterhouse is allowed to go on will bring massive group karma. And so one nation will be always in trouble. Every group, because every group is indulging in this slaughtering business. And we cannot expect that there'll be any peace and harmony, or there'll be any good relationships individually or collectively. We see now it's very difficult for people to remain together for very long in relationships, and that will continue to increase more and more. So there will not be any good future without bringing about protection for the cows. And especially in the Vedic culture, the Vaishyas are set aside and they're supposed to give protection to the cows. Vaishyas means Krishigo Rakshavanijam Vaishya Karma Svabhavajam. They're responsible for growing food and protecting cows, and also for business, trade. But we see there's a lot of business going on in trade and things, but no protection of the cows. And this receiving religious principles from the cow in the form of liquid religiosity is so valuable, because even without understanding what we're doing, that we're getting religious principles, we benefit. The cow is specially designed by God to award religious principles to human society. And the leaders of society should learn it and understand it and impose this. When I was in Israel, we had an attorney who was a devotee, and he was asked to take over the rest of the term for a particular leader of the council or some kind of a city administrator, because that city administrator was no longer able to function for the rest of their term. So this devotee he had inherited, he became in charge of this part of the city. And so he used his position, his influence, and he pointed out all the flaws in the slaughterhouse that happened to be in his jurisdiction. He pointed out the bad health principles and the moral principles, the inhumanity, all the different aspects, health. And he actually, through his efforts, he was able to get that slaughterhouse closed down. So this is how people who are activists and want to do something for the good of society, they can make propaganda in this, that slaughterhouse brings all bad karma and qualities in the population, and protection of the cows brings all good qualities. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much for that. Yeah, that's very good in detail, but yeah, is that the cows specifically award religiosity to the human society designed by God's arrangement. So yeah, that's real nice. Yeah, they're very unique animals too. We've been discussing the cows, and we take the fat of the animal in the form of the milk, and from the milk we can make curd and have fried curd, and so that's very tasty and palatable. One doesn't need to eat flesh like that. And then by protection of the cow, then the society can become happy and religious in all respects. Otherwise, then the society is just doomed. Yeah, something called karmic scope. All the persons in one nation and in all the people in all of the nations on the whole global planet, and if they're committing sinful activity and murder and cow protection is not in place, they're murdering the cow, eating the flesh, then you can't expect any peace. Prabhupada is saying, how can thieves and drunkards and sinful persons expect any peace when they're stealing? They're not paying back their taxes to the sun god or for the air. But everything is taken care of when one worships Krishna. Is worshiping the root of the tree, watering the root of the tree. Then all the natural branches and leaves, they're all satisfied. So the devotees, we don't need to worship the demigods individually or collectively like that. You know, Krishna says that according to one's faith, one is a deity. Krishna arranges the type of a worship, a deity for the worshiper to worship, and gives them steady intelligence to worship the deity. So Prabhupada, he was talking about how there was the, like Kali here, he's the Sudra, he's beating the cow. So he was saying that everything's under restriction. There's meat eating. He's saying in every religion, how come there's this process described here for killing animals and eating meat? So he says, have you seen the picture of Kali? He says it's ghastly form. Kali's killing the demons. She has a garland of skulls around her neck. He said, okay, so you want to eat meat, you have the desire to eat meat, so you eat meat, so you're impure, so you just worship Kali. You don't approach Narayan or Vishnu because you're impure. Like that. So he said, if he wants to eat meat, he can worship the goddess Kali. But even then, that's under restrictions. It's never a cow, and they eat the goat, and they can be sacrificed and killed by the living entity who's the goat in a future life, because now you're killing them. So they have this mantra. So Prabhupada was quoting this verse too, the hita jnana, that their knowledge is stolen away from illusion. And you see, there was a verse from the seventh chapter, then the verse, and then, but in all respects, Krishna, he was stating either you're under the influence of Maya or the external energy or illusion, or you're under Krishna's protection. So Prabhupada was saying, so Krishna is equal. He's equal to everyone, to the devotees and to the sinners and the thieves and the rascals. So he's equal to everyone, but their treatment may appear to be different. So Prabhupada was saying, just like if a murderer, there's two reasons why a murderer can be killed. One of the reasons is to keep him from murdering again and committing more sinful activities and murdering another person. But the other reason is to relieve him from his karma. So when he takes his next life, then again, he's clean. He's already atoned for that karma of killing a life for a life. So he's atoned for that karma for killing someone. So it's to relieve him from future suffering, from future karma. So, and then, it's not that Krishna is not equal, he's equal to everyone, but the treatment may just seem to be a little different, but his favor is upon everyone like that. So Krishna gives everyone the intelligence to engage in devotional service specifically. So that's for the good of society. engage in devotional service. That's the peace formula, Bhaktaram, Jagatapasham, Sarvaloka, Maheshwaram. So that Krishna is the source of all demigods and all material planets. Prabhupada was mentioning another verse too in Isha Upanishad that as everything is a complete whole, so Prabhupada was saying is that the material conception is 1 minus 1 equals 0. So it's a material conception, but everything is always in complete whole. That Krishna, if you say 1 plus 1 is 1 and 1 minus 1 is still 1, that Krishna doesn't become fragmented, he still remains the total as he is. So this was actually the point there. He was quoting the verse, Purnam, Purnam, Purnamidam, like that. So everything is within the material world, material universe is perfect and complete, and it is equipped as complete wholes as well. So that's the living entities. They generate their species, continue their species. So every living entity is also still in a complete whole. And so that's what Prabhupada was speaking, that in the previous ages, the saintly kings were seeing to the spiritual benefit and welfare of all the people in general. Prabhupada was saying that nowadays the Vaishyas, they're maintaining factories, not the agriculture, not the cow protection, but killing the cows. So, and the agriculture is diminishing. It's being misused. There's actually enough food and resources to actually feed the world over, but it's being mismanaged, and it's reducing. And that's for a lot of different reasons, because of the karma. So war is coming because they're killing the cows and not maintaining agriculture, maintaining factories, building bombs, like that, building aircraft for war, like that. So the war is coming, so, we kind of see that coming all the time. Prabhupada was saying that, that after the war, the people of the planet, they'll see the futility of material activities and sinful activities, that it's just simply a waste of time. It's ugra karma, like that, and it's not our actual real position, but that our ISKCON societies can show how to live by cow protection and agriculture and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, following the Varnashram Dharma, religious principles. So then everyone will take to this process, the process of Krishna consciousness, and saying that this is actually beneficial for human society. So that's what we're waiting for. That's why we're dropping so many bombs out on Sankirtan, giving so many different books, so propaganda is a real powerful thing, but this is the real propaganda. This isn't some propaganda for some other ism or some other type of government or some dictatorship or communism. Prabhupada was calling this spiritual communism. I guess there was an article Prabhupada was standing in front of, I think it's the Kremlin or something, some big giant building with big giant round domes in Russia, right? So there's a picture of Srila Prabhupada. He's got his bead bag. There's the buildings in Russia. And the article is called Spiritual Communism. So there's everything belongs to the state. Everything actually belongs to Krishna, like that. And so there are some specific mechanics that are in place. There's either there's the heavenly planets, and one has to practice specific worship to a particular deity and very strict regulations to be eligible to enter in the heavenly planets. And then there's hellish planets. Those are for the simple living entities. That's where the ordinary human beings go. And it's a very frightful period of time. There's this carnage taking place there, and they get there, they're obliged to eat the flesh of others, and others are eating their flesh. And so they're extremely frightened. And but for the devotees, there's Krishna Loka. there's the highest spiritual planet in the spiritual universe was under the protection of Krishna's divine energy, the Devi Prakriti, like that, and it is eligible to return back home, back to Godhead, to one's original position, and again, engages in devotional service, like that, just like we're engaging in devotional service now. So this is the exact same principles, the exact same activity that were taking place in Krishna Loka. Everyone are all devotees. Satrup, he made Satrup Goswami, he made a statement about this one time. He's saying, we just don't want to just go to some place, like kind of like the Christians kind of state, they just go to heaven, well, what's heaven? Well, God's there, but the whole idea is to go to the spiritual planets, the spiritual universe, to associate with God in a loving relationship, not that she's just going to some lovely place somewhere. But Prabhupada, he was speaking about that. He was saying, so you hear about the Chintamani Dham, just like if you hear about Los Angeles or San Francisco, you think, oh, that sounds very nice, I'd want to go there. But you hear about the Chintamani Dham, how they have the copper rickshaw, the Sarabi, and Krishna is served by many millions and thousands of Lakshmis, goddess of fortunes. They're permeated with the same spiritual qualities and atmosphere as the Lord himself. And Prabhupada was saying about that in the material world, everyone's just simply envious, but Radharani, she becomes happy, so Krishna becomes happier, and Radharani becomes even more happier. So Prabhupada was saying, so this is actually the way of spiritual activities. No one's envious, but everyone's just more happier, more ecstatic that someone else is expert at their service. Like that. So you kind of think, wow, that's really neat. I kind of like to do that too. How do you distribute that many books? Boy, that would be great if I could distribute that many books. Somebody was, Madanga was just telling me there was a Sankirtan leader in Atlanta, or a Sankirtan devotee in Atlanta that he beat another ISKCON world record in book distribution. Yeah, so you hear about that, you think, oh, that's really nice. So we're just about out of time. Are there any questions or comments or anything subject for discussion? So the cows are very important in society. They should be protected. They're the emblem of Dharma, religion, and they can award happiness and spiritual elevation in human society. But unfortunately, the present moment, it's the dark gloom day of Kali Yuga, where the cows are being murdered. Yeah, you have a question or comment? Yeah, so this Krishna consciousness movement can save the whole world in its darkest hour.
So we have heard the importance of cow protection, but I'm wondering what practically our community does about cow protection, besides just tell people they should protect the cows.
I mean, our community here, RVC? Or since we don't have any cows here?
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Yeah. Well, Prabhupada was saying, get milk from maybe more pure dairies where the cows are being taken care of, maybe a little more nicer, like that. And so we make the curd. And all of the milk products that we use here, they're offered to the deities. So the cows, they're getting that benefit. They know that, or they're getting that benefit. And then the flowers outside are growing. They hear our kirtans in the morning and evenings, and they're always hearing us chanting their devotee flowers, like that. So the cows for the milk that we use, they also directly benefit too, and they're giving more milk, and their future's a little more brighter, like that. So yeah, they're benefited too, because we use the milk and offer it to Krishna, even though we don't have cows directly here that we're maintaining. We were getting some milk. We were getting milk and butter from a farm. I think it was New Taliban or something like that. We're from devotee farms. When I was in Denver, I drove out to, I think it was Aurora. There was a milk dairy out there, and we had some big cans. And so I'd go out there like every couple of weeks and fill up the milk cans and bring the fresh whole milk back, right from the dairies. When I was getting the milk from the milk vat, they were bringing the cows in, and the cows were being milked like right there on the spot. They were planning some. The devotees they play some kirtans. The cows they like music when they milk the cows. So the karmis they play some classical music, some Beethoven or something, right? But the devotees they play the kirtans and the Hare Krishna mantras, and they gave them some oats, so they have some oats, and so they have something to eat. They give a lot of milk. So when the cows are happy, they'll give more milk. When the cows are distressed, they'll give less milk. So that's been stated. So when they're killing the cows and taking the cows away from the cow, and the cow is crying, and Prabhupada was saying like that, the animals and the ranches, they know that they'll be killed, so they're not very enthusiastic to produce a lot of milk. They're kind of morose. You'd feel kind of morose too if you were kind of around in a prison. You're kept in by the barbed wire and the gates and the fences, and and all the activities are going on. The carcasses are coming in and out of the slaughterhouse for the truckloads daily. And it's kind of bleak. They know they're going to be killed, so they're not so happy. So that as human beings were on like a concentration camp, they're being killed and experimented on and stuff too. So you imagine that, that type of situation. So that's due to the sinful activities of killing the animals. So human beings will also be killed in the same way. Maya is perfect and expert at making the perfect arrangements. So that's the difference. The karmis and the demons, they're under the protection of Maya. Because Krishna was saying that everyone follows my path in all respects. They're either under illusion or under Maya, and being, tortured by Maya. That's what Prabhupada is saying. This is the business of Maya. She's cutting all the heads off of all the demons. So all the demons worship her like that. And so then, but under the protection of the divine energy, under the protection of Krishna, following, not transgressing the laws of material nature, but following the Devi, Varnashram Dharma, and the Vaishnava principles, or Krishna's instructions, as he states in Bhagavad Gita, and protecting the cows, then society can become happy. There can be proper weather for proper agriculture and irrigation. So there's all the problems are all solved like that. But yeah, they're trying to, it's all mismanaged. They're trying to do it in their own way like that. So does that answer your question on that? Or yeah, how do we directly benefit the cows here at RVC? Yeah, but we make sure that we respect it, and offer it to Gaur and Nitai. So something. What was his name? When the devotee was here, Ramananda. He was saying that it's liquid religiosity. It's actually sinful to spill the milk, like on the floor, and especially don't touch your feet to it. But if you happen to spill some of the milk, take some water, a cup of water, a bowl of water, and pour it on the floor there, and try to, clean it up. Don't leave it there, and don't step in it, stand on it, because that's sinful. So it's a little detail there, because it's liquid religiosity. The karmis, the demons, they don't know these things. Right. The other questions or comments, or right hand class there? Srimad Bhagavatam class ki jai.